Welcome to Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. Today is part one of showing you how I'm going to remodel this shop. The first thing I'm going to do is use this big Barretto ditch witch to trench all the way from the shop to the edge of the property at the street so I can run a separate electrical panel to the shop, a 200 amp service. The ditch, according to code, has to be 24 inches deep and the pipe is going to be 3 inches in diameter. So when I measure down, the top of the pipe has to be 24 inches down. So I plan on going down about 30 inches, somewhere in there, to be able to satisfy the electrical code that is in place here. So you can see that I haven't marked out the trench that I'm going to be digging all the way out to the street, just within the maximum allowable distance to run power to a building. So I'm going to put the meter right here on the wall. That's the closest distance. And when my wife and I staked this thing out, it came out to 240 feet. So we have 10 feet to spare. So the first thing I'm going to do is get all these stakes out of the way and then just use the white mark that I painted on the ground as my guide to start digging the trench with the ditch witch. So it's going to walk along and take all these out of the dirt. All right, here we go. Don't laugh too hard when you see me fumbling with this thing. It's been about 25 years since I've used one of these, but hopefully I'll get the hang of it pretty quick. One thing I forgot to mention is this area has lots and lots of lava rock. So I think I'm already hitting lava rock. And then what I did is I got this long survey stick, I don't know, to mark stuff. So I marked 30 inches on it. Let's see where I'm at. Still got to go deeper. Okay. So this is what I'm going to be doing the rest of the afternoon today, tomorrow, and the next day. The cool thing about renting it on a Friday in the afternoon is that I get it for the whole weekend. So I have a little bit of time this afternoon on Friday. I'll have all Saturday and all Sunday to get this trench dug. It's going to be fun. All right, I've been at this for about an hour and 45 minutes, and the going is slow because you keep on hitting big rocks like this and it gets jammed up in the machine. So then I got to stop and get it unstuck. And then right in here, right in this area, there's a big band of rock and the machine can't get through it. So I'm just going to keep on going. And when I hit a big band of rock, I'm just going to have to bypass it and hope that I don't hit a lot of sections like this, because I can't imagine trying to jackhammer this because it's such a narrow trench. I don't know how well it would be. Like, I'd probably have to like straddle it like this and use a jackhammer. So I'm hoping I don't hit too many more big bands of rock like I did, but this was like a 5-foot section of rock that I couldn't get through. Okay, the trench is mostly dug, but there are sections of rock that I came across. Here's one of them. You could see the white mark I made, and there's a big band of rock in there. And then right here, there's another one. So in this area of the trench, there's rock. Another one right next to it in this area, because you could see where I was able to get it really deep. It goes down a lot further. There's some rock right here, rock right here. And this is all areas where I wasn't able to get a full 30 inches under the ground, because the top of the 3-inch pipe has to be 24 inches. So I was shooting for 30 just to give me a little wiggle room. And so there's another one right here. And then through this last section, it wasn't too bad. I think there was one section coming up. Yeah, right here. There's an area. And then I think all the way to the asphalt driveway, there wasn't anything. Maybe one little section right here. I marked it. And then what I did for the asphalt is I rented a concrete saw from the same company that rented me the ditch witch, and I cut a slot in the asphalt, and then the ditch witch was strong enough to kind of break it up in sections. And then on this side, because of all the utilities in here, I had to dig it by hand, and I'm not done yet. So you can see there's a wire here that I hit with my pick, but I don't know what that's for. The internet people say that's not their line. And then I exposed another line right here that I didn't damage. And then when Central Electric was installing the new transformer, they did nick this internet line right here. So a guy came out and patched it. And so I have to tie in right there. So I have to do some more hand digging here, but what I'm gonna use to break up that rock is this Bobcat mini excavator. So right now it's got a 2-foot bucket on it. I did ask for a smaller bucket, but that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is dig out those areas that have the rock so I can get in better with the jackhammer attachment, which is right over here. This big, massive thing. I've never used one of these. I got a quick tutorial from the guy who dropped it off, and let's see how it goes. But it's not too complicated, but just like anything, I'm not gonna be an expert at running a mini excavator in just a day. So it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve and hitting the wrong controls probably a bunch of times and just getting the hang of it. But here we go. Changed my mind, and instead of coming at the trench from a right angle, I'm straddling the trench, and I think it's working better. And so I'm using my measuring stick. This white dot is 30 inches, and there's a rock somewhere over here, like right there. So I'll just lay the stick out here to give me kind of a marker. And what I found in the first section that I did straddling the trench, the bucket itself was able to unearth the rocks. They were just too big for the ditch witch to pull up. They were pretty good sized ones. So I'm hoping that I never have to switch to the jackhammer. I could just dig all these rocks out with the bucket. We'll see how it goes. Got it done. I finally got all the rocks out, and I didn't have to put on the jackhammer attachment to the excavator because the bucket was able to pull all the rocks out. So this is the first hole coming from the shop that I had to dig out with the 2-foot bucket. You could see some of the big rocks over there. Another big ass rock. And then this was a pretty long section that I had to dig out. It was just like one bad section after another, but I got all the rocks out. The biggest rock of the day is that big boy right there. I don't know how much that thing weighs, but no freaking way that ditch witch was gonna get that monster out of there. But you can see there's some big ass rocks that excavator was able to just pull out without much problem. I had to work it a little bit, but got it done. So this was another one that I had to dig a hole out. You can see the rocks I pulled out of there. Another one I had to dig out. This one had quite a few rocks. There's some big boys in there, especially that one right there. That's a big mamma jamma. And then it's pretty good right here. The ditch witch did it all without needing to be dug out by the excavator. Had to dig out one right there. You can see all the rocks I dug out right over there. And then there was one here, and the rocks. And then the final one right before the driveway is right here. And the rocks that I took out of there that was stopping the ditch witch dead. So to finish this thing up, I have to clean up the trenches a little bit because driving that excavator over the top probably pushed dirt in. But again, the 3-inch pipe has to be 24 inches below the surface. And I have to finish hand digging this all the way over to the transformer. I'm good right here, but I have to get deeper in this area. So there it is there. It's been a long freaking day. And it's Miller time. I don't really drink Miller though, but I just wanted to say that. And with that said, thank you for watching Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. I will be back with more updates on this shop remodel at our new home in Bend, Oregon. Peace out. Happy wrenching. Bye-bye.